Hello everybody, welcome to this playthrough for Rookie Division in the Fall Major Tournament. The video here is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and also visit golfclashtommy.com for more Golf Clash related content. If you do want to get the text guides, you subscribe to patreon.com/golfclashtommy. This playthrough, we do have some new visual content for you here, and I'm very pleased with it personally, but I want your feedback. And you will see a frame on the right hand side. I put one as an example where you will be able to see the elevation adjustment for the drive, elevation adjustment for the second shot. Then underneath there we're going to see what type of ball that I would like you to play with, or at least suggest you to play with. And then at the bottom I'm adding the clubs that I think is going to be key clubs to survive on that specific hole, or maybe that is going to give you a little bit more advantage over your opponent. The video here is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, and you will obviously see videos as well, so you can relate and you can and I can refer to the information on the right hand side. So let me know what you think in the comment section below about the new visual, but also if you do have any questions about the content in itself. So hope you're gonna enjoy it, so let's freaking go and get it in the hole. For hole number 1 here, we are going to play with a 20% elevation adjustment. And when we play downhill, the ball is going to be affected more by the wind. That is just how it works, and that is why it's so important that we know that we're going to add 20%. Choose the driver that gives you the most distance combined with topspin. In our case here, from the front tee, it's going to be the extra mile. You see that I play with a katana, I go max overpower. Use a titan if you can, so you don't have to go with max overpower. But the reason we do go with max overpower is to make sure that we're going to go past or go as long, so we do not have the trees in our face trying to approach the pin. Because if we do have the trees in our face, we cannot approach the pin directly and just have to play for a safe birdie. If we do have a headwind directly to ourselves with a drive, we need to play on the left hand side, which is going to be trickier, but in rookie we are most likely going to be able to play on the right hand side all the time. Second shot, backbone or Saturn, give yourself backspin. Minimum 4.5 bar backspin. Saturn level 5 is a perfect club, otherwise I would say the backbone. 10% extra because we're playing downhill, so we do need to add more because the ball is affected more by the wind. So for hole number 2, we're going to play with the backbone, and in tailwind we play with a marlin ball. If we would be having a headwind, we would be playing with a navigator ball, as we then would be go in between clubs playing with a power 0 ball. 30% extra, as you can see once again on the right hand side, which means that you do need to add to your adjustment. And every time we need to add, it means that we are playing downhill, and then the ball is going to be affected more by the wind. So just the knowledge of knowing that you do need to add more adjustment to your shot is very valuable when you play downhill on a course like this. I would stay away from the rough bump based on that we're gonna go in between clubs. We play with lower level clubs, and we also play with lower level balls. And then we get it nicely like this. So we go to hole number 3 in this playthrough, and now we're going to play with the big topper. The big topper you could play with in whatever level you might have that club in. So even in a level 1, I would prefer the big topper over like an extra mile level 2, 3 or 4. Use as much topspin as possible, and the thing that you want is to get the ball to bounce on the fairway over the rough and then gain as much distance as possible on the other fairway. We're not going to add or subtract anything when it comes to elevation here, so it's gonna be a nice, clean, easy shot, and you just have to rely on the normal way for yourself to adjust. Marlin ball you could maybe see me using. And why do I use a marlin ball on a par 5? The reason I use a marlin ball on a par 5 is because we do not need to use any other ball. And when I say need, I mean that, you know, here playing with a Titan ball, we're still going to end up in pretty much the same spot as we did with a Marlin ball and a big topper. So even if you would be having an extra mile, or in this case a quarterback, or a club with more distance, and trying to go with overpower and then clear the rough, then you will still most likely end up in the same position because you do have so much more topspin with the big topper. So I rather choose to spend a lower level ball, a lower power ball, however you want to call it, to make it like better for us in the long run, and then we can save the Titans, save the Kingmakers, etc. Second shot, we're going to play with the Guardian, and we do want to use the back end of the green. Here we're going to use an elevation which is 10%, and every time we're playing downhill, which we do now, the ball is going to be affected more by the wind, and therefore we're going to have to add to our adjustment. Easiest way is to add it to the wind, so you add 10% extra to the wind, and then you just use your normal ring numbers, and then they're gonna be there. Then it's not gonna be a problem. You may wonder why I do have the Saturn listed on the right hand side. That is because if you would be getting such a drive that it reach even further than what we're doing here now, then you will be playing with a long iron, and then the backspin is very valuable. So for hole number 4, we're going to play with an elevation adjustment that is 10% extra, which means that we play downhill and the ball is going to be affected more by the wind than normal. 1 to 1.5 bar topspin depending on the wind angle, and we're going to use as much side spin to the right possible. And here the trick comes here, in my opinion, with you can see how close we're aiming to the rough line. So instead of using a Quasar that do have side spin 2, we could use a Katana which has side spin 3. And the side spin 3 would make us be able to move our target more to the left, and then we use more side spin and we're not gonna risk any rough. So for hole number 5, I would suggest you to play with the quarterback, especially now when we're playing from front tee. We would be very happy with having a club with a decent amount of accuracy. And also we need to face it here that most likely we will not be having the club so we can go for the green, and therefore we play with the quarterback as it gives us the accuracy, but it also gives us curl. Curl here is going to be very valuable as we then gonna curl the ball to bounce on the fairway and then roll past the trees you can see on the right hand side here. Because if we stop before the trees, we cannot shoot through it, and then it's going to be a danger to even get the birdie. So we do need to find a combo that makes us at least go to where we were there. And you know, the curl is very valuable on a quarterback. Having an extra mile level 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you know, the curl is very limited. Sure, extra mile level 6 has a little bit more curl, and then obviously extra mile 7 and extra mile 8, those clubs has the curl. And you know, I just want to say it, at least those players having extra mile level 6 plus, you should try to go for green here. Try to just go with as much topspin possible, max overpower, get the ball to roll down through the hill here, and then get to the other side. Because this shot that we're gonna do now is not easy. As we play without elevation for the drive, we're going to play with 30% extra for the second shot, and every time we have to add something that is more than 10 makes the shot way more trickier than a normal shot. And especially when we're shooting so much downhill, we cannot zoom in to be accurate with the rings. So we have to adjust from a zoom out position. So especially for those people playing with a smaller tablet or a phone, it's going to be extremely difficult to be accurate here, and therefore I want to at least address that with, if you do have a high level club, to use that in your favor, in your advantage, to get the ball very close to green. Thorn here for the backspin. If we find ourselves in a tricky position, then the backspin could be very valuable. So for hole number 6, we're going to play with a power 3 ball, a Titan. You can obviously play with a Kingmaker, but we will be okay with a Titan. Use the driver that gives you the most distance combined with topspin, which is the extra mile in many cases when you play in Rookie. Now we do need to go with max overpower, and we can hit great, we can hit, we can hit great right, we can hit great left, and it's not going to hurt us. The only thing it could hurt us if we do not make max overpower, because then we are going to not clip the rough and we're going to fall directly into the rough or into the sand. So max overpower, power 3 ball, very valuable, and going straight forward is basically the best chance we have to get an easy eagle but also an albatross attempt. Second shot, we're going to play with a minus 10% elevation, which means that we play uphill. So the ball is going to be less affected by the wind, and therefore we need to, adjust less with our club. The sniper is going to be the club if you have it in level 4 or higher. Otherwise, play with the Viper, as then at least you give yourself a little accuracy and ball. So for hole 7, we do have 2 ways to play. One is going to be on the right hand side as our opponent is playing. 2, it's going to be over the bunker and the rough on the left. You can see there our opponent was on its way with the club there, but turned around, went back to the right hand side. I'm going to, while our opponent play to the right there, I'm gonna talk real quick about the left hand side. Use a sniper that has 4 bars backspin, or another wood club that gives you 4 bars backspin or more. Then we're going to use at least a side spin 2 ball to use as much side spin to the right possible. Then we're going to apply somewhere between 75% to 1 ball of curl outside the adjustment ring to the right. So we want the ball to bounce on the fairway up to the top right of the green and then fall down towards the pin. Because that is how this green works. The right hand side falls down left. And therefore, I was, at least in this video, wanted to play on the right hand side, get the ball up to the top right, fall down towards the pin. But here the problem is for me is that I'm using a Marlin ball, which is absolutely possible though. There's no problem with using it, but the problem will be when we have a little headwind, is that we're gonna go in between clubs. 1 to 2 bars top spin, 1 to 2 bars side spin to the right, and here using a Marlin ball will be okay wind based, but we need to just back up. If we do have a wind coming left to right, better to use a ball with more side spin like a Quasar or a Katana. So for hole number 8, it's either going to be the Big Topper or the Horizon. It's not often we play with the Horizon, but this time I say pack it in your bag, because if we do have a straight tailwind, we are going to play with the Horizon and a power 3 ball. If we do have a crosswind with tailwind, crosswind with headwind, or a straight headwind, we're going to play with a Big Topper and a power 1 ball. You can play with a Marlin ball here if you want to, you don't have to. So I would suggest playing with a Quasar, so you have a little more side spin than what we do have on the Marlin, so we do not have to go with curl. That is at least my game plan from the start. Bounce on the fairway, get it down there, over to the other fairway, and now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very good opportunity to get the eagle. If you don't have a club with at least 5 bars topspin, you will not get through the rough and you will get stuck in the rough. Then you have a decision. Either you try to do the same shot like your opponent is having X mile level 4. That's a good example. Like either you try to get the ball to roll through the rough, but with the knowledge that it's not going to happen. So you have a rough iron towards the pin, or that you lay up on the right hand side or the left hand side and then shoot towards the pin from distance. The thing to have in mind that if you lay up, as you can see, you have the number 30% on the right hand side, and that means that the ball is going to be affected a lot by the wind if you lay up. So in my book, rather take a rough iron from the lower part of the rough than taking normal short iron from a higher part, because it's going to be easier to get the rough iron in than it's going to be with the short iron. With the wedge here now, you can see we have a crosswind left to right. First, do not get the ball to bounce on the fringe if it's not an absolutely must. But in this case, we use the green. Look how close I am to the pin there. So you do not have to adjust more when it comes to short wedges like this. And then we're gonna go in the hole. Boom! So for hole number 9, we're gonna take a look at the drive twice. First, we're gonna have the extra mile here, which we're gonna have in both examples. But Titan ball, super important. We need the power 3, max topspin and as much side spin to the right possible. Get the ball to bounce before the rough to then roll as far as possible. Nothing extra for elevation. And just to take the drive again, I want to add, use the big topper if you do have a big topper. You can then use the topspin on the big topper to make sure that you're getting further down the fairway, because the further down we're getting, the easier the second shot is going to be. Because now, even though we have a power 3 ball and we do have the big dog that gives us distance, we're going to have a hard time getting this ball to the green. Aiming on the fairway is an absolute no-go, because then we're going to have to use curl, because the fairway slopes slightly right to left, and that's going to push us up to the left. Use the rough bump and then get the ball to green. I'm not expecting this one to fall. I expect though that clipping the rough to roll out towards the green is going to secure the eagle every time, and then I'm going to sit there with an eagle while my opponent is making mistakes getting a birdie. So big dog is very important. Elevation for the second shot is going to be 10%, and every time we add something to our adjustment, that is because we play downhill and the ball is affected more by the wind. So in the end, everybody, thank you so much for watching hole number 9 and also this playthrough for Rookie Division. Let me know once again how you felt about the information coming on the right hand side of the game screen. Did you like it? Was it too much? Give me feedback. I would gladly want to hear. In the end, if you do have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. Subscribe to patreon.com/golf-tommy to get the text guides, but also we do have training sessions, personalized text guide, and especially the November special. Check it out. Video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, and I want to wish you the best of luck in the fall major tournament.